Money, 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 money. Woo! We are talking money on this chat. Now, I know this is super taboo. And a lot of times we don't actually talk about that elephant in the room, talk about when financial chaos happens in our life, when we feel really stuck, when we lose a job, or maybe we have like suddenly a single parent, whatever it is. If you have found yourself in financial turmoil or chaos, it can actually completely derail and affect everything else going on in your life and the way that you're able to handle everything else. And so today, I am so excited. If you have missed it, you might not have noticed, but we've been live all day. This is our fourth free series, our free training today. And after today, they're all gone, but we've been going live with these special bonus trainings, answering your biggest questions and showing you how to apply the framework, our Calm the Chaos framework, to your biggest struggles. And those of you that know me, you know that I love to add bonuses. So we've been adding bonuses all day long. And this session is a really powerful one because it's about how to use the Calm the Chaos framework in the middle of a financial crisis. So if you're in the middle of a storm right now, if maybe you've lost your job or your partner lost their job, or maybe you're on government assistance, or maybe you're just barely scraping by, or maybe you've suddenly found yourself being a single parent. That was my story. You're going to want to stay tuned because I want to share how these mamas that I'm going to be bringing on, and maybe if bedtime allows, bring in my husband, Lemon Pickle. We're going to be talking about financial crisis. We're going to be talking about how to apply the You Connect, Understand, Empower the framework to when money becomes part of your chaos. And here's the thing: this isn't just about how to find the money to join our Calm the Chaos program. This is about how to get out of the financial chaos and crisis that you're currently in, whether you join our program or not. We just wanted to serve you, show you how this framework applies to even that chaos. And so as they tell their story tonight, I want you to be listening to how they use that You Connect, Understand, Empower to get themselves out of a pretty dark place. Now, if you missed yesterday's webinar, or you've missed any of the trainings today, you may have missed that there was this massive bonus yesterday. And some of you saw it and you emailed in and you said, I tried to join, but I missed it. Can I still get this? Is it still possible? And some of you are still emailing in right now and saying, is there a way to still get the bonuses that have been going live all day? And I want you to know, yes, there is. We brought those bonuses back because we wanted to make this a no-brainer for you so that you could have the resources you need to make those shifts in your life more possible and simpler as well. So I see Kayleen is here. I see Amber's here. Amber, you are already in Calm the Chaos 3.0. So these trainings that we're doing today are actually getting taken down and then put into your dashboard. So yes, Amber, you can watch this and you're going to get the bonuses. If you've already joined Calm the Chaos, you're going to get the bonuses. So let's talk a little bit about those bonuses. I want to bring Jason in for a minute. He said he might not be here because of bedtime. So let's bring him in. Are you getting to be here with us?
Yeah, I got a few minutes.
Awesome. Do you want to walk us through before we bring on our amazing guest, because I know we don't get you for very long. So can you talk through the amazing thing that the team did to make this more accessible for people who are dealing with a financial like strain and still know that they know this is for them. Can you talk about that? And then share our new bonus that we are going to be giving with this piece. So I'm going to go ahead and update the page.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So the thing we mentioned a little earlier, but we opened up for enrollment this week, and immediately we started to get a couple emails like, man, I am trying to put all my beans in order, all my ducks in a row. And like, I'm not able to make 147. Like, it's just like, I'm trying, like, I know this program works. I've seen it work for other people. I know it can work for me. I can't quite do it. And we were not planning on doing this. But because of the nature of the responses that we were getting, we decided to open up a 12-pay option. And so today, tomorrow, you can get in for 12 payments of $77.
That's awesome. That's such a
brand new option added.
Yeah, brand new option. It makes it so much more accessible because it's under $100 a month. And it really does make that so much more accessible. So I'm really proud of the team for coming up with something.
And we had to, because like very specifically, people were like, I can make 99 work. Like, can you make 99 work, please? I'll do anything. And we did some of the math and all the stuff, and like it was awkward. We just decided to go 12 payments, 77. We are hoping that this will help some of you who that this is the right program for you. You know that this is the right fit. You know that this is the community of your people. Help you out and be able to join, for that.
So can you take us through some of the bonuses? And we're going to get to the training, guys. So if you're new here or you're just seeing this and you're like, wait a second, you're just telling me about a program. Like, I want the tips. We are going to get to that here in just a minute. If you have not seen any of the trainings we've been doing all day, we've been getting people saying, these are gold. This is amazing. Like, thank you so much for doing these. Like, I can't believe I've been live all day long, except for a short nap this afternoon to kind of reboot and get going again. So Jason, can you kind of go over some of the amazing bonuses that they are going to?
Sure. In addition to the brand new version of Calm the Chaos 3.0, we are throwing fuel to the fire. We are bringing in the routine cure. Dana, you have gotten me off the screen, but you are still controlling the computer, so you can't completely abandon me. The routine cure is all about getting your family routines for you and your out of the box kid. Maybe you yourself are out of the box. It all depends on how the cookie crumbles, right? Routine cure is super, super. It's so simple. You're gonna say, "Oh my God, why didn't I think of that?" Like, it's brilliant. And honestly, I have not seen it fail yet, which is amazing. Dana, if you can scroll down. We also have this, and I said it before, but like, our content team is ready to strangle Dana. But this is something that we believe in so much. We have seen this work, we've seen what doesn't work, and we're going into 3.0. And we decided that if you don't know where to start, right, let us build the plan for you. We're going to send you a little questionnaire. You're going to give us your answers. One of the coaches from the team will put together a plan that's just right for you and hand that right back to you, so you can know confidently exactly where to put your focus and what your next steps will be. Just a humongous, humongous service. Dana, if you can scroll down, please. Okay, the Calm the Chaos Scripts Toolkit. Now, this is something that people beg for. What do I say in the moment? What do I do when, the little brother's back talking and not listening, or, hey, you're touching me, we have a database of responses that you can go through to handle almost any situation. There's like over 100 different situations, different behaviors, and there's responses, sometimes multiple for each one. We've got people who've printed that out. You can kind of see in the screenshot there, the database of these responses. I know people have printed them out, put them next to their fridge or their cabinet or their bedroom, wherever they're most handy, which is super amazing. People love those ones. Dana, can you scroll down? Ooh, and then from our very own Kayleen George, I see her in the comments. She has added her masterclass, Parenting While Triggered. Now, she has this unique stay calm plan for when she's triggered. And Kayleen, you get triggered. I know it. Like, you've got sensory stuff, you got auditory stuff, right? You got like a jillion kids. Like, take it from Kayleen. She is an expert in, like, I've got a migraine, but I still got kids. How am I going to handle this, right? It's amazing. So how to stay calm in that moment, right? So the Parenting While Triggered Masterclass, she added that in today. She's like, I'm throwing it in. From our talk today, we've created 4 different mini bundles, how to understand your nonverbal child, how to communicate with them, maybe not in words, right? How to learn how they're communicating with you without words. Get your defiant teen to actually listen to you. Man, I know so many people who have so many stories, so many beliefs when it comes to teenagers and their journey and how rude they are and their attitude and blah, blah, blah. Flush it all down the drain and get on board with your teen. Bonus number 3 is the partner connection bundle. Just all about the different ways that you and your spouse can come together and learn to communicate, open those lines of communication. We just finished that talk up. It was really eye-opening. And then from today's talk, we are going to learn how to conquer your finances. Dana, what are kind of the things we're going to cover here? How to overcome your money hurdles, 50 ways to save $500, and 50 ways to make $500. Yeah. I mean, it's good times.
Very, very awesome bonus. Well worth it.
So,
yeah. Like worth the price of admission, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Like $77 for your, for joining today. And then you go ahead and get this one bundle. And that's without the program. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah. Not to mention the life transforming, potential that you have with Calm the Chaos 3.0, because it's not just the parenting course. It's not just get your kids to behave. It is truly a framework that you can put your life into, and you will come out on the other side completely different human.
Yeah. And you know what is so powerful is just, I see some people saying, wait, I already joined CTC 3.0. Do I get this? Yes, you do. If you've already joined, you're going to get this. You have until midnight tonight to grab all of the extra training bonuses that we've been throwing in. And so I see Khalil say, holy moly, I hope everyone is signing up. $77 a month is all caps crazy. So I love that. That's so amazing. Okay. So
enthusiasm.
Yeah, I know. And then Carolyn says bonkers in all caps. So I love the enthusiasm. Okay. calmthechaosworkshop.com/livecast is where you want to go to grab those. And we've got some really cool guests today, but you know what? Like I see one is like, Hub's not home yet. And so she's trying to kind of figure
going in and out.
She's going in and out. So can we just start with you for a minute before you go and take Flora, because I think you and I can talk just for a second about what are some of the concepts? I don't know. I guess I should just do it just like regular style. So let's talk about, both of us have had instances in our life where money,
what you say to me.
I know, right? Because I got to be really careful, because Jason and money talks can be a dangerous slippery slope, but they're powerful. They're always powerful. So, but both of us have a past of having incidents in our life. We almost have polar opposite stories of our money story, and our past 100% affects how we view lots of things in life, but especially our money story affects so much in life. So can you talk to me just a little bit about your past and some of the things that have gone into your money story?
Yes. Okay. So do you want my story or do you want me to teach?
What do you feel like intuition wise is like saying you should be doing right now?
I do a little both.
Okay.
Okay. So the story, right, that I grew up with as a child, right? As like an infant, my parents were in like Section 8 housing, there were like government cheese sandwiches. It was something, right? I don't remember any of that, right? I know like my brother does. He remembers going to get the sandwiches, and my mom was like, no, those for the people that don't have the money. That's where we started. That's where it came from. What I remember as a child growing up is my dad buying the best of everything. We were in the Section 8 housing, and we had like the best stereo system on earth, right? We were in an apartment after that. We bought a $2,000 vacuum cleaner, right? And this is like 1980 or whatever, 1985, right? I don't even know where you can spend $2,000 on a vacuum at, right? But That's what I grew up with.
Rainbow. That was the thing.
Yeah, it's a rainbow, right? I mean, dude, it lasted my dad 25 years. He traded it in and they gave him $2,000. He paid nothing for it for 20 years. It's amazing. The story I remember most was as a teenager, right? We had this little money dish, and whatever is in the money dish was fair game, right? And I went to Lincoln Park High School in Chicago, and it was where the first Potbellies is. Now they're everywhere, but I would go and I would eat a Potbelly sandwich every day because my dad just kept putting 20s into this dish. So there's this magical dish that 20s just keep appearing in, right? Right, guys, Dana's rolling her eyes, right? But for real life, like there's just this magical dish where like every day, every other day, whatever, right? It's not a normal everyday appearance, right? So as I started to go through my 20s and, I got a great job. I worked at the Board of Trade, ended up running, the tech department over there. And no matter what I did, like if I bought 60 Cubs tickets, right? If I bought a new guitar, if I bought a new amplifier, right? Somehow the money just kept coming into my account. There would be an opportunity for me to go to someone's house and fix some computers, do some networking, whatever it was. I would spend $2,000 and make $2,000. It was just like even Steven, no matter what. Now, as I started to do the deep work on like what is money stories? What is my money story? What is your money story? Right? Let's really look at this, right? I'm looking at my dad's, my brothers, and all this stuff. And I started to realize I had this even Steven mentality, right? Everyone has reached into their jacket pocket that they put away last winter and there's $20. And you're like, I could swear to you that, I cleaned out the pockets. Where did the $20 come from, right? Most people have the experience of picking up a penny off the ground, right? There's all these things where just money appears in your life, but you have to be able to pick up on the story to make it happen. Okay, so that's kind of just in like a really quick nutshell, like what my money story is, right? So when I started working on it, I started to say, do I want the story of even Steven, right? And from there, I started to say, well, what do I want my story to be? Right? And I started to transition my story to, for every dollar that I spend, to come back. Right? I started to work on telling myself my money story is that I'm a money magnet, right? And since that has happened, I'm not saying it's like gangbusters and I'm like swimming around and like Scrooge McDuck in a gold coin, but there is more money in my bank account than there ever has been, right? And it's undeniable. I've changed my story from even Steven, let's go paycheck to paycheck, to money is I'm a money magnet, right? Money is abundant. Money is all around. What do I want my money story to be, right? Because look, your beliefs affect your thoughts affect your actions affect your results, right? So if here's me, I believe that I'm a money magnet. I'm going to think things that are going to bring money to me. I'm going to take actions based on those thoughts, and I'm going to get the result of having more money in my life. Now, this works whether you have an entrepreneurial, venture. This works whether you work at, your 9-to-5 job, right? There's some stuff it works if you don't even have a job. But it's all about the beliefs that filter into your thoughts filter into your actions. Actions make results. Right? So that's my money story. I would love to see when you guys start to do that deep work, what is your relationship with money, right? That's where you can start to really find some amazing things, like really assess where you're at, right? You can assess where your parenting is at. You can assess where your relationship with your partner is, right? You can assess what your relationship with money is, right? So I'm going to say two more pieces and then I have to help out with the kids. So number 2, now I know that I think differently. I know that, you guys might be like, who is this guy? But money, right? Dana, where does money come from?
I don't ever know how to answer this question. And it doesn't come from anywhere. It's like, it's energy. It's money is like flow. What
was your answer 5 years ago?
Money comes from the government.
Right. Well, of course, money comes from the government. They print it, they got the presses, they stamp it, right? Guys, if you operate from the perspective that money is limited, that only the government prints it, that's in the banks, and then the banks with the job, right? That will limit you. Money is nothing more than energy, right? We exchange energy in the form of time, right? The form of money, right? I will pay the workers to come put in the door, because if I put in the door, it's going to take me 3 weeks to put it in. But I'm willing to pay somebody $500 to come put in my door because they're going to do it in 3 hours, right? Because that's what they do, and they're amazing at it, and they will do such a better job than I will ever do, right? So I'm willing to trade my money, energy, for their time, energy, right? At the end of the day, it is all energy, right? So if energy around us, right, we can all agree scientifically, no energy is created, none is destroyed. I think that's pretty universal at this point. It is the same thing when it comes to money, right? It is just energy. It's all around. So as you think about your day, right, you go to the local bakery, you buy a new sandwich, right? You give them your $10, right, for a drink and a chip or whatever, right? That $10 is just, if you start to think of it instead of like, oh man, I'm spending $10, it's, think about it in terms of gratitude. Like put that gratitude into the energy with the $10 exchange. Gratitude for being able to, afford the $10 meal, right? Gratitude that the person behind it has a place to live. Like that money is going to the rent. The rent is going to the guy who owns the building. The guy who owns the building is feeding his children and so forth, right? The busboy gets his cut of the money. He goes home and he's able to, play on his video games or whatever he's doing, right? Because he's 16. He doesn't care about the rest of the stuff. But like there's a ripple effect. You think it's just $10, right? But it is a source of gratitude for what you have in your life, right? The guy that charged me $500 for fixing my door, right? Those 3 guys, they're going to go home. They're going to have a good time. They're going to have a good life, right? It's amazing that I was able to hand them over this gratitude in the form of $500, right? And now instead of being like, man, I had to pay the $500 and the door and the right? I have changed it into, man, I'm so grateful that I have the ability to pay this. And then from there, they're able to spend their money and do their things. And then just on and on down the line, right? Never destroyed, never created.
I love that. I love that. So I was actually able to put that into a UQ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want a UQ at? I have one last point.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so this is my final tip. Like, guys, I could talk about this for hours. I'm trying to keep it like kind of actionable. I know it's out there for some of you. But the last thing I want to say here, right, is it's not just about giving money, right? Most people, I won't say everyone, most people would they would split their final meal with somebody who they cared about. They would split their final meal with somebody that was just like, oh my gosh, they need this more than I do, right? Break it in half, give the majority, whatever it is. Most people will like, dude, shirt off the back, here you go. But when somebody else is like, hey, I saw this thing for you and I thought that you could use it, like, here you go, right? Most people are like, ooh, like, I don't need that. It's not, no, I can't take, no way on earth, right? Even as simple as a compliment. Hey, Dana, you look beautiful today. What is your reaction 90% of the time?
Yeah, but, and I come up with all the reasons I'm not.
Yeah, nah, F that noise, right? The only acceptable response is, wow, thanks.
I agree.
Right? So it is no different when it comes to the receiving of money, right? Because it's an ecosystem, right? It is a fluid motion thing. Just like in relationships, right? If you are a 100% giver in a relationship, at some point, empty cup. I would tip my glass over, but there's literally stuff in it. It would have been a great point, but I would have been all wet. You cannot pour from an empty cup, right? So what do you have to do in this cup equation, right? You have to fill the cup, and you can share and spill and give. So in a relationship, you cannot give 100%, just like you cannot take 100%. It doesn't work. It's not beneficial to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to your relationship with money, not only is it good to be a free giver, right? In the religious organizations, right, it's tithing, right? Give 10% of your paycheck to the religious organization. Like, I prefer to view tithing in like a much broader scheme of just, going throughout the world and spreading that that message and that noise, and being able to
noise.
there was noise coming up the stairs, so that's why I moved. But being able to spread that energy around, right, and be thankful and do all of that. So when it comes to money and energy, right, you want to have a state of flow, right? So you want to be able to receive just as much as you give, right? And once you find that balance, that flow, that is when you'll be in just a really phenomenal state, and you'll be able to receive more, to give more. And once that starts happening, it's like man, I can't think of the word, but like when you're starting to like, you've got like a big, heavy, like circular thing, and like you got to kind of keep rotating it over and over. And then eventually, as it gets easier and easier to push, like the centrifugal force of the device starts to, do it on its own, right? And that's what you want when it comes to money, is at a certain point, you want to not have to work as hard at it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense to me, because
momentum, right?
Yeah. But I've been on this journey with you for a year of us really digging in to this. But I think it's going to really help with when we talk to kind of, our guest, because they'll be able to put it into a practical perspective, but it is all the same thing, right? It's exactly what you're talking about. So I think you're talking about it from things that are going to push people a little bit further and a little beyond. Hello, Mr. Man. How are you? Good. Awesome. Okay. So it's bedtime. So we're getting all the kiddos in the picture down there. So I'm going to let you go. And thank you so much, because I know that that's really powerful, and it just opens up. But some of you may not be ready for that. You may be like, wait a second, I just need the tactical.
Yeah, I'm 30,000 feet, right? Yeah. I am purely coming at it from like theory, and like, you have to put it in action. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of actions when it comes to bringing money, attracting money into my life.
Can I just recap what you said into UQ?
Absolutely. I'm gonna bow out.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull in our guest. So just to recap in a UQ format, I heard for you, I heard changing your story. Like being able to say, I don't like, this doesn't have to be my story of just because this is where I came from. Like Jason's facts are that he was born living in Section 8 housing, and he chooses to focus on a different part of the story, right? And then the second step with connection is assessing your relationship with money. What relationship do you currently have with money? Is it a negative one? Is it one where you're constantly fighting for it? Is it one where you feel like you have to do things and you can never get ahead? And then number 3 is, where does money come from? Really understanding almost like this bigger picture of where money comes from and the facts behind money, because it can feel very different and our stories can take over. And then finally, focusing on the gratitude of money and focusing on where that money, when we focus on the energy, the flow of that money, and empower ourselves to realize that money is just a tool, right? It's just a tool that allows you to be able to transfer that energy for time, energy, money. They're all the same things. You invest time, money, energy, and you have to exchange them. So that was kind of my recap of the money talk from Jason into UQ. And I want to bring in some amazing, amazing, amazing women who have lived this and breathed this in like real life and put this into action in the Calm the Chaos framework. So my first guest is Leslie. So I'm going to go ahead and pull in Leslie. So Leslie is amazing. Leslie is has been with us for quite some time now. And when Leslie came in, she came in the middle of a massive storm. She's the first person I think of when I think of someone who is just all the facts surrounding her say that she's not going to make it or that you shouldn't be able to make it through this. But she is the one that I'm always like, you got to talk to Leslie because you can do this. You can do hard things. And she went through her entire first round with us just in this massive storm. And she stayed so positive that all of us were incredibly shocked when we heard her real story. So can I just bring Leslie in, welcome her in, if we can welcome Leslie. Leslie, welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dana?
Good. You've been behind the scenes waiting for quite some time. So
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Jason went on one of his money talks. So here we go. So Leslie, tell me, for people who do not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family dynamic, and then that big storm that kind of happened.
Sure. I'm a mom. I've got two super kids, both boys that are 9 and 11 now. When I came to Calm the Chaos, it was about a year and a half ago. And yeah, life was really messy at the time. It was really hard. I'd gone through, my husband had left and we'd had like a business and it had fallen apart. And both my kids were really struggling. Like my oldest super kid had always, well, they both had always really struggled, but add on our life chaos and they were struggling even more. Like my youngest had severe anxiety. I couldn't get him to school. I had to pull him out. And my older super kid, who was 10 at the time, was having these massive meltdowns at school and big aggression and getting called from the school all the time. And so like literally when I started that March, I had one kid that wasn't going to school at all. And my super kid 10 was going 2 hours a day, 3 days a week. And we'd spent like probably 3 or 4 months like reaching out for help, for services, been to a whole bunch of professionals, and they just like, they'd look at me and shake their head. They're like, I don't know how to help you. And I was on social assistance. I had no money. I had no job. I didn't know how I'd ever get a job with two kids that I couldn't get to school. And I was drowning. Like every day was hard. Like every day was a battle. We were really disconnected as a family and we were all really sad. Like we had a lot of upheaval and I felt like the walls had just sort of fallen down around us. And it was a tough place to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So can you talk about, and I know that we've seen some stories inside the community over the last couple of weeks of people who are kind of in similar situations. And I think that your story echoes what so many people are going through in the world right now with COVID and with the pandemic of just like sudden, like,
Yeah.
because you told me like this was sudden. Can you talk to me just a little bit about, let's back up even a little further from sudden chaos to what life was like a couple of months before, or even like right before it happened?
Like before the chaos, we were like, don't want to say a normal family, but yeah, like we had a business that was doing well. And like we had a big summer vacation planned. Like we had planned to travel as a family for 6 weeks to go work with my husband. And like we had a pretty like regular life. Like my kids, had some struggles, but we managed. I was like, I worked part-time for the company. I was a stay-at-home mom. Life was just like, it was life. It was, yeah. And then almost overnight, it it changed, you know? And I think that is similar to COVID for a lot of people. Like people lost jobs, everyone's world is turned upside down. Nothing feels the same. And I think that's what it was like for me too. Like nothing felt the same. Nothing felt normal. And obviously my kids felt that too, right? Like I hear a lot of questions in the group about like, will this work with XYZ, whatever, trauma, whatever. Like we had a lot, to be quite honest, there were a lot of other factors going on, like with my ex, and like, you know, like stuff that's just like over the top that does cause trauma to kids, that it causes trauma to me. Like, and I don't throw that word around lightly. Like, I really think like some very big impactful things happened. And I think for months, it took me months to just like accept that part and accept where we were at, and not be like, I'm a pretty positive person, but it gets you down when you feel like you're just hitting every wall. And so that like giving myself, I think, the opportunity to feel all the feels and get to a spot where I was accepting where we were at, and realizing that the only way out was forward. And if we stayed there, it just, for me, that wasn't an option. It felt like.
Yeah. So that was like the first step, is just like that acceptance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, so can we kind of walk through like how you got through this huge upheaval, this huge financial struggle? Because someone could apply this with COVID. Like if you've lost your business, if you have been laid off, if you have, your partner has been laid off, if you, like you could definitely apply this because it's so similar. So can you walk us through the steps that you took, specifically with the financial crisis?
Sure. Like, okay. So we, I had spent a few months trying to like keep the business afloat, and that did not go so well. And so at the end of it, I was in a lot of debt. I mean, on top of just not having no job and being on social assistance, I was drowning in about $50,000 worth of debt. And so that was kind of my first step, to be quite honest. I was like, well, like I can't go anywhere with this. And I took some steps to like get myself out of debt. And like, that was a really empowering, it's scary, but empowering thing to do. And like, I think, but for me, it was really the taking action of it, that like, I passed the like ball back to myself, and that now I had some options again. So, and then I also realized in the process that like, we've been kind of like middle class, I guess you would probably call our situation. And then I dug into it like with a financial person when I was going through some of that. And I really like started to understand what my options were. Like I really explored, and like, and some actual good things happened from it, if you can even believe that. Like I was able to get some grants to do some work on my house, and like I just explored other, like, get reduced like power bills and other ways that I really dug into other ways that I could reduce my overhead, and looked into some really out of the box options of financial things that I could do. Like we had a basement with a kitchen and a bathroom and a walkout entrance. And that was really old. And I renovated, I gutted it to like, I still haven't finished it, but with the thought that I would turn it into a suite. So I really stopped and thought about what really are my options here, and how can I turn the situation that's really not great into something better. And I also saw the opportunity, I think, and this is probably where Calm the Chaos comes in, is I was at home. I didn't have a job. So I really took the opportunity to connect with my kids, to find myself again. Like I I'd been like an at-home mom for about 6 or 7 years mostly. And what did I want to do? What did I want my future to look like? So I asked myself those hard questions again. And on top of that, like, what did I have to do to get there? And that is really where I found Calm the Chaos, because my kids, I felt like at the time, it was my kids that were my biggest hurdle to getting somewhere, and that I didn't see how I could get any further financially or in life if my family couldn't function.
Mm, mm. So it was almost backwards. Like so many people think, well, if I can just get out of this financial crisis, if I can just work my way out and I can just get a good job, or I can just have enough money, then I can deal with my family. But you're like, no, this is number one important thing. And then it's going to allow me more time, space, energy to be able to do the things that are going to provide for us. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's totally what you're hearing, because like
Okay.
we were dealing with all day meltdowns, and
Yeah.
like we just couldn't, I couldn't, I was busy all day despite like, or a lot of it, despite the fact that I wasn't doing anything, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. And so you you said you invested in CTC because you saw it as an investment, right? And can you talk just a little bit about that, because you call that like your empowerment piece when we talk about the UQ.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and why you felt like it was an investment, not just in your family, but also like a financial investment almost?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, I had explored options for like different therapies, counseling for my kids, like medical stuff. And like the reality was like, I could, for what it costs for Calm the Chaos, I would get a handful of therapy sessions for my kids. And that was like an unsustainable purchase, really, because three sessions each wasn't going to do it. Like this would be years of them probably working with something. And I totally believe that's a valuable thing. But in the financial position I was in, it was just not really an option. Like we've gotten like 1 or 2 sessions, but like it wasn't fixing my life long term or theirs. And so like I saw it as like really a great value for my investment. Like if I can be the one helping my kids when everyone else had told me they couldn't help us anyway. And like, and that was powerful to me. And I mean, the results for us spoke for themselves. Like, I don't think any number of counselors, doctors, therapists could have helped us make the progress we made in our first 90 days. I really don't.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, and you talked about, I know when we've talked before about how you knew you were going to need a job, like you were a single mom. And so
Yeah.
by investing in CTC, you were kind of saying like, okay, I know I can't leave my kids alone, right? Like, so
no, that was huge too. Like when I fast forward in my head of what my future looked like, it was so clear to me that if I couldn't get my kids to go to school, like what future did a single mom have with no job and on social assistance? Like not a very great one. And it just, for me, that was really powerful. And I saw my kids hurting too. I saw my whole family hurting. And that, that's a big driver for a mother, I think, is to like, we feel like we have to take care of our family. And when everyone's struggling and you see them struggling, but you are also seeing them, like I was also seeing them, as negative as this is, that they were in my way to moving forward. And I think CTC really sort of helped me swap that as well, because like I saw them as the roadblock for us to have a future because of their behaviors. And I think it was really powerful when I learned in CTC. And I don't think I really saw them that way, but like I definitely felt that. And I was able to change my perspective on it. And we were able to very quickly just connect as a family, so that it's almost like that didn't even enter my mind anymore. And when we were connected and hanging out, and even if the situation was still bad, we had that, and it gave us that hope that things would get better.
I love that so much. Can you tell us a little bit about just like the results? Like, where are you at now? Like that was like a year and a half ago, 2 years when the storm hit. Can you talk about like where you're at now?
Where we're at now, we've had the best back to school this last month that we've probably had since my kids started school. So yeah, a year and a half ago, I had 2 kids that barely went to school. And now, like, every day they're there. I'm not saying we don't have the occasional hiccup. This morning, my youngest decided that something happened and he was going to walk home. But I drove over there and talked to him, and he turned around, walked right back in the door. Like, it was that simple. And this was a kid that I would spend an hour chasing around the house, that would take his clothes off so we wouldn't have to go to school. And I would like lock him in the car to try to get him there. Like, we're talking massive anxiety. And my other super kid, my 11-year-old, we haven't been at school for 7 months, right? So he came back, and his EA is just like, he's a different kid. Like, I can't believe it. You can see him like starting to get mad, but he turns it around. There was an incident on the playground last week where he went and got the teacher, and then he actually talked with the kids and the principals, and they worked out a plan for the next day if something were to happen again. And he handled it the way we've like tried to teach him to handle it.
Yeah.
And a year and a half ago, it would have just been like fists flying, and no one would have even known what happened. Like, he wouldn't even say anything. So it went from fists flying almost immediately, and people being like, it came out of nowhere, to like him being able to communicate what he needs, what happened, take the right steps to figure it out, and be able to be even in that conversation to work it out. Whereas that would have probably sent him running or hiding under the desk before. It's been incredible.
That's so amazing to hear, like, the transformation with your kids. Can you share, like, are you still in a financial crisis? Are you still feeling like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I work for Calm the Chaos now, but I have a job, which as a single mom is powerful and something that I love doing, and that supports our family and allows me to be with my kids, and it allows me to not be so stressed. And it's funny because, Jason just did his woo talk, and a few months back, I don't know how long exactly, but I remember Jason sharing some of his woo on do rich people look at their bank accounts? And I'm like, no. And I listened to that and I took it in, and I'm like, I'm going to try that actually. Like, I'm not someone who obsesses over their bank account, and I'm obviously not rolling in it as a single mom. But I did that for like 2 or 3 months, where I was like, I'm just going to pay my bills, and like, I'll know if they bounce, right? And I didn't look at my bank account. And literally 3 months later, I went and like tallied up my accounts, and I'm like, this has got to be wrong. How do I have money? Like, no joke. So that's a little cheers to Jason. True story. Like, I had extra money that just
appeared.
It appeared. I'd been paying all the regular things, getting the regular money. There you go.
And what are some of the things that's allowed you, the ripple effect?
Yeah, it allows us to, if COVID wasn't here, it allows us to like enjoy our life a little bit. It allows me to not have that stress and that like worry all the time about so much. Like, I don't have to worry about pinching every penny. Heck, I didn't look at my bank account for 3 months. And then it also, like, just allows me the freedom to enjoy life and enjoy my family. And, you know, I really am a proud mom now. Like, it has allowed me that. It's allowed me, I always thought I was a good mom, but, you know, we have had struggles. And I think it's really easy as moms to lose our confidence too when our kids are struggling. And so I think Calm the Chaos has helped me get my confidence back and believe in myself again. And just like, yeah, our life it's completely different. It's almost unrecognizable from what it was a couple of years ago.
I love that. I love that. I know what's on my vision board, Loretta says. Like, I'm just putting it on my vision board that I'm not checking my bank account. I love it. I mean, I still check mine. Don't tell Jason. Because I feel like maybe I need to try that. Well, what would you tell someone who is maybe thinking about the program and they're thinking about making this an investment, but they're worried about their own financial situation?
Yeah. I would say it really is an investment in your future, in your family's future, because I think the big thing that I found is when our family life started working again, it just opened so many other doors for me. It made the rest of life possible again. And it bring like having that joy and happiness back in your life, and that feeling of ease, and that I use the word simple. Like, our life is pretty simple, but it wasn't. And when it's simple and it works, it's the best, by far the best investment of money I've ever made on anything in my entire life. I would pay it 10 times over.
What would you say to someone who, I mean, we had a whole team meeting about this today. So about that responsibility. I mean, we don't take this lightly, and I don't take it lightly, that you were in a place and you put your entire investment into this. So, what would you say to someone who might be thinking, like, is this irresponsible? Is this something I shouldn't be doing? Is this, because I know that we take that to heart.
Yeah.
So what would you say, being someone who was in that position, who's still going, like, coming out on the other side, and now sees like the community, and you see the heartache, and you see the struggles that people have? What would you say?
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's hard. Like I said, it is. I know how hard it is to take the leap. Like, I was there. I was not a by the first day person. I molded over. I'm a muller. I dug deep. Like, is this gonna be worth it? Is this what I need? And yeah, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine my life if I hadn't learned the skills and the tools from Calm the Chaos. Like, it honestly scares me to think of where we'd be. And I don't know if that's the right answer to the question, but I did, along with getting these tools and strategies, I also found a community that understood. And I live in a smallish town in Canada, and I don't want to say people here don't get it, but I felt like the only person, definitely the only person I knew, perhaps the only person in the city, because all the professionals looked at me like I had 17 eyes. There was we were this weird anomaly that no one knew what to do with. And I think there's a lot to be said for that as well. And it's such a supportive place to be without judgment. And I think our kids get judged. We as parents get judged for our kids' actions. And never has it been judgmental at all. And regardless of what your beliefs are on almost any subject, people embrace that. And like that piece is something I think we don't talk about very much, but it has made such a difference for me. And like some of the tools that we use, like set a timer, have been really powerful for me. And that community that's there to be there and lift you up during those dark moments. And I remember what those are like pretty clearly still. And Calm the Chaos is so much more than just like a parenting course that you take. It's like a life course, if that's a thing. It's a course in life, and like just supportive beyond belief. And if you show up and you be there and you put the work in, it's incredible the amount of progress that you can make.
That's so powerful. So, man, thank you so much, Leslie. Is there anything on your mind that I didn't ask you about that you just want to share?
I think the only other thing I'll share is that it can be pretty dark and scary when you're struggling financially, when your kids are struggling, when life seems out of control and you're just overwhelmed. And I think one thing I want to say to people is that have hope that it doesn't have to be like this forever. It is possible to change the story that you're living right now, even though it might not feel like that, even though you don't know how you're going to get there. I mean, we do say a lot, just take that next step. And I know when I was in the thick of it, in the overwhelm, I did know where I wanted to be, and it wasn't where I was, but all I did was just take that next tiny step that I could manage. Like I never did anything crazy big or hard. I didn't go like super all in. Like Dana said, they didn't even know who I was until because I was literally in the middle of the storm, my head down. I think I posted like 3 or 4 times during my 90-day, like the sheets that they told us to post. Like I just followed the instructions step by step and just took that next little bit. And it's amazing what those tiny steps, how much progress you can make with just little tiny steps. And like, that's the story for my kids. If you've heard it, like my youngest, I took him to school, barely got to the parking lot, then in the door. And it was just tiny, 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 but just massive change when it's all added up.
I love how you said that. I mean, because I see that a lot in the comments is I'm worried I'm not going to show up. I'm worried I'm not going to be live. I'm worried I'm not going to be able to put in all of this work that some of these like extroverted, like big people, like big personalities are. And I've even heard from people who have been through, our alumni, and they're like, well, you seem to really know some of these people. And, and I know you now, but I didn't. And you're right. And I think that's so powerful. You're like, I just in the background, like I'm a quiet person. Like I just followed the steps. I followed the instructions. I just took it one step at a time. Like, okay, this is what they say to do. So I'm doing it. And I've got to tell you, like, we see that is the massive, it works. Like the framework works. And whether you're getting coaching directly from me, or you're showing up live, or you're just going through the steps, the process works. And so it's so cool hearing your story. And Kayleen says, when you look back, tiny steps turn into big leaps. And I think that is such a powerful, powerful takeaway from this. So thank you so much, Leslie. I'm going to bring you back in just a little bit. We've got another special guest. And we had someone who was going to share, and it didn't quite work the way we wanted it to. She's been sharing in our community though. So I'm going to pull you out, Leslie. And so if you guys hear from Carrie Isaacs, she's got an amazing story, and I know she's been sharing in our community, and hopefully we can get things to work where she can be on here. But Carrie Isaacs has a really powerful story. She joined COVID edition, so during the middle of a pandemic. And I'm just going to tell just a tad of her story real fast, and then I've got a special guest who's who's jumping in last minute, and I'm really excited to tell her story. So, so Carrie, single, so was a stay-at-home mom, not single, stay-at-home mom, married 11 years, 2 girls, age 3 and 4. And the financial struggle she was in is that she was on government assistant, living paycheck to paycheck, and she knew that she needed Calm the Chaos now. COVID had just started. She was struggling before COVID, and she found the payment plan that we opened up. We opened it a 12 pay, just like we did just now, at that $77 a month. And so she joined at the payment plan and was able to get her husband to say yes. And what is so powerful, I really wanted you guys to hear, is that she was feeling like she was dealing with being stressed, depressed, crying. Her husband and her were arguing all the time. The kids were arguing all the time. There was a lot of yelling. And, she felt like she never had money for anything. And so by taking a leap and when she started to ask, but how, money started to show up. And that sounds really, really wooey. But when she started to ask how, money started to show up in really strange places. And she was like, okay, I don't have to have the full amount. I just need to have the first payment, $77. How can I do that? Okay, that's too big. How am I able to get $30? Okay, let's break that down. How am I able to get $20? Okay, let's break that down. How am I able to get $10? And then so she just kept breaking it down until she found that first usable step. And I think that's so incredibly powerful for anyone who's watching. I don't want you to put yourself in danger. I don't want to put your family in danger. But if you are thinking, I do want this to work, how do I let this work? You have to open up the idea to but how. And so one of the things that I think Carrie did really well is I'm just going to go through the list. And if you're looking for but hows and you need those, I just want to share them with you. So she said, I talked to my husband, told him what was important and what was necessary repeatedly. I planned out my day. I tried to see it from his perspective. We came up with ideas together to come up with the money. We tried selling things, including a truck. I did cleaning myself. So I stopped, so I wasn't paying someone. I started cleaning for other people. I swallowed my pride and started asking for help. I was able to raise money that I needed by posting on my Facebook page. And when she said, when something's super important to me, I know I can make it happen. So like when your air conditioner goes out, you can usually find the money. When your car breaks down, you usually can find a way to make it work. And so she had to get past her own pride to know that she needed to ask for help. And so I know that she would want you to hear those things and know that it's coming from a place that that she just wants you to know that like you can do this. And if you ask but how, things start to open up and things start to become possible. So she says she started to think outside the box. She started to take care of herself, put herself first. She's now remaining calm in situations, and she's starting to shift from that limiting thoughts to I love this. She says, shift my thinking from limiting you to empowering star. I love that. That's like a totally different Carrie than we saw just months ago. So super powerful. I want to remind you guys of our bonuses. I see Andrea Lay just joined us. So welcome, Andrea, and Nicole and Bethany and Jacqueline. If I haven't said welcome to you yet, and Catherine Thorne is one of our alumni joining us for some further steps. So love it, love it, love it. All right. So I want to remind you of the bonuses we have for you today. We have the routine cure, the done for you plan, the CTC scripts toolkit, parenting while triggered masterclass, the get your defiant teen to listen to you bundle, the how to understand your nonverbal child bundle, the brand new partner connection bundle, and the brand new financial, let's see, what's it called? Conquer Your Finances bundle pack. So super, super amazing. You just go to calmthechaosworkshop.com/livecast. So I'm going to bring in our next guest, and then we're going to do some Q&A. So if you've got some questions, if you're on the fence and Or if you're just trying to deal with your financial struggles and you're trying to figure out how to apply this to what you're going through, please go ahead and put your questions in the comments. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find my new guest. Here she is. All right. Erin. I am in love with Erin's story. So Erin is kind of thrown into that single momhood. She is a powerhouse. And what I love about her is her ability to ask, but how, and get really creative with her out of the box ideas. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Erin in. Hello. Wait, where is she? Hello, Erin.
Hi.
Where are your costumes?
I'm not wearing a costume today. I wasn't feeling it.
Is
It's
that
Thursday.
because
I don't know.
how's your hand?
It hurts. It's not broken. My hand is not broken. So
That
that's
is
the
good.
good
I
news for
do see
today.
you using them, so that's
Yes.
good. Okay, awesome. So Erin had a boxing accident. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
it's not the worst way to get an injured hand. Like, it's not exciting, but I was doing something I really enjoy, so I can't complain.
Okay, that's good. I was talking to someone recently and he was like, oh, I had a mountain biking accident. I was like, oh no. And he's like, yeah, a lot of times when mountain bikers have an accident, it's like they're walking to their car and they trip and it's nothing exciting. But at least I was doing something really exciting when it happened. So it's a good story now. So yay for no breaking hands. Let's all celebrate that. I see Kayleen celebrating in the comments. So Erin, for people who don't know about you, can you just share a little bit about yourself and your family dynamic?
Sure. So I have three boys. I almost forgot a child there for a second. They are 14, 11, and 9. And they are all, I say they're all neurodivergent. They all have their own special abilities and they just think in these really creative ways. And I also consider myself neurodiverse. And I think it's a superpower. Like, I feel like it makes the world so much brighter for me, even if sometimes it limits me in certain ways. But I don't like using that word. Like, you've taught me that, like, that's not, we don't limit ourselves. Like, that's not it's a superpower. I'm trying to own that.
Yeah, 100% it is. Our struggle is our superpower. Like, that's what's unique about this company. And I think and that's 100% right. Like, it makes you who you are 100%.
Yeah. And it's awesome, kind of fun sometimes. So, like you said, I'm a single mom. My husband left a year and 3/4 ago. It's almost 2 years. And it was kind of sudden. So it was financial security to, oh my gosh, I need a job. I need to provide for my family. And oh my God, what am I going to do? Very quickly. And I was lucky enough to join this team where I learned all about but how. Like, that wasn't a thing before. And then I learned very quickly, like, okay, there's no problems. There's but hows. Like, okay, there's this thing, but how do I do the next thing to get past it?
Kayleen told me one time, she said, Erin just asked me, she's like, they failed. Why are they doing this again? I'm like, that didn't work. Why are we doing it again? And she's like, oh, get ready. Like, there's no failure. There's learning and we're going to keep going. And so it's so funny that you said, like, but how was one of the first things you learned, because I think we embody that as a company. And so I think that's why we get so pumped up and excited about that. But how? I know for me, when I was growing up and for me, when I became a single mom, and it was that, but how is what allowed me to survive, you know? And so can you talk to me a little bit about, I know you kind of said there was like a big financial struggle and that your husband kind of suddenly like left and that left you from being financially secure. Can you just talk us through kind of like what you did to go through that struggle and get out of it? And then also like what happened, like especially at the beginning. And yes, this is currently live for whoever is commenting. And welcome, Leanne Dobson. So just
so he left and he said he was going to financially support us for a year, which in my head I said maybe 6 months. I doubt it, just because I know like that's a lot of money to spend. And then 2 weeks later it was, I can't do this anymore. So I didn't quite even get the 6 months. So I started off with like, okay, I have time. I can find a job. I can like put all the pieces together, find a cheaper place to live. Like this will all work out, to like, no, I need a job today. And my kids are homeschooled. And so like, I can't just go find a job. Like we didn't live somewhere where I could just put them in the schools like that week. So I was like, okay, there's got to be options. Like the internet there's so much out there. Like there has to be something. So I looked into teaching Chinese kids to speak English online, which I was like halfway to getting that done when I found rev.com, where you can do transcriptions like whenever you want. And then I saw this wonderful friend that I knew that was like, I just need someone to help for 3 weeks. And I was like, I can do that for 3 weeks.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I kind of dropped the other two things, and I was still looking for like a job locally that I could go and do my 40 hours and come home, like thinking, okay, what is going to be my big thing I'm going to do? Like, I just need something to last a couple years until like my big thing happens. And so, and I guess I'm kind of still at like the tail end of making sure like what's coming in matches what's going out, but I'm a lot closer, and I feel financially secure. And it's interesting because we're living on about half of what we were living on when he was making the money, and financially we're actually doing better, because I think it really forced me to look at like, do I really need to pay all of these things every month? Do I really need like all of this food in this way, or can I plan better? And I mean, we're living better now than we were before. It's been really powerful for me to not only be the one bringing the money in, but for it to be really, really stable.
I like that, the stable part. I mean, I know that's what saved our business when COVID hit, was that piece that you just talked about. So often we're looking for more money, more money, more money. But when we can take a really honest look at, do I really need this? Does this really serve my life in like my forward progress and like where we need to go? I mean, I knew that I had all of you guys on our team. And so it was like, I know that we've got all these families we have to serve. We have all of the people on the team. And so it was like, what can I like reduce? And I think it's that out of the box thinking, like you said, of like some people don't even know that you could do rev.com, or that you could teach, Chinese students online, and, or that you could do virtual work online. And I think that they don't always know that you can reduce things either. And I know that was one of the things Leslie said, is like, there were grants that I could do, and there were ways to get my power bill reduced. And I know we have someone on the team who like uses the local food pantry to have, they actually will help her with her bills, like her, the electricity and the gas and those sorts of things. And so I think sometimes there's extra ways that people can support you. And for me, I'll give this tip for all of you guys. You can actually like write this down, go through your bills and go through every bill you have, literally every single one, make a spreadsheet of it, and call every single one and say, do you have any assistance for COVID? That's all you have to ask. And they will tell you, no, but I tell you, 8 out of 10 of the ones that I would call, and I called every single one, 8 out of 10 said, yes, we have 15% off for life. Yes, we have 50% off. Yes, we have 25%. Yes, we have a free month. Yes, we have 3 months. You'd be surprised. Companies have government assistance, or not government assistance, they have assistance. And it's not alone, because the whole world is going through this right now. There is literally no better time in history to have a financial struggle than right now. Like, I know that sounds weird to say, but since the whole world is going through this, there are things in place. And so if you think you've tried everything, you may not have tried everything. Like, are there any other of those like removing tips that you might have? Is there anything you did that really worked to remove?
I mean, first, like I went through all of the things that we had. I'm like, okay, we don't need Netflix. Like, we don't need Disney Plus, like all of these things. But we already lived fairly frugally, so that didn't save a whole lot. It got into, okay, this might not be as comfortable, but like, what can I remove that'll save money and it'll still be fine?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that gets into like, okay, my AC is not going to be set as low, right? Like, and it's little things that add up. Like, I didn't cut a bill by $100, but I could cut a lot of my bills by $5 or $10.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can cut 10 bills by $10, you've got $100.
Mm-hmm.
So it was those little things and just kind of trying to track them. But like, we also had a bad habit of going to McDonald's and getting a soda, which in my head is a soda, but there's 4 of us. So that's really 4 sodas, which is 4 times as expensive. So it was like looking at all that and saying like, okay, we can't do that like 2 or 3 times a week. We can do it every other week. And I've just like cut $50 off of our bill and other places because that wasn't a healthy habit.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the group the other day said like, I'm gonna finally quit smoking, and just my nicotine habit alone. I mean, and gosh, I mean, I smoked when I was in high school, and it was like $3 a pack. Like, I can't, like, I just see it behind the counter now. It's like, what, $15 a pack or something like that. I don't even know. It's crazy. It's like, every time I see it, I'm like, what? You know? And so if you have a habit like that, a Coke habit, and I mean Coca-Cola habit, sorry. If you have that habit too, that's an expensive one. That's not what I was talking about. It's way too late. I've been talking way too long today. Okay.
Yeah, you've been online all day.
Yeah. If you have a Coca-Cola habit where you drink soda, that's a great place to cut things out. Jason and I like would eat out because it was just easier for our brain to like just order out. And meal planning, as you know, really will save. I know that our, you know, joint friend and good friend Charla, you know, for them to save money, like she went and did freezer meals so that she could make an entire month of meals in like, you know, for $30 or for, you know, under $100 or whatever, and feed her huge family. And so I think you have to ask that, but how? I think that's really, really powerful. And so what's life like now? Like applying this and really getting clear.
So now I see a lot more things that I'm like, this would be a really good resource for us. Or like my kids wanted to start boxing. And instead of saying like, oh, we can't afford that, it was like, okay, but how? But how do we make that money? And like in this case, I asked my parents for help, which was a really easy but how. They were super excited about it. But for other things, it's like, okay, I'm going to be really diligent about meal planning this month and not eating out at all. And then I've got another $100 so I can do this other thing I want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's just made me look at money completely differently. And it's opened up doors that I didn't even know I wanted opened.
I really like that because I know we talked before we did our live series or our live event, and I was asking you, like, what is it you would like to, like in a year from now, like, where would you like to be? And I feel like what you just said, you're so close. You said, I just wish that if my kids asked for something, I could just say yes. Like that I could say, okay, let's do that. And you are already so close to that and you're figuring it out. I mean, it's so incredibly powerful. So I'm being prompted to ask you, so you had an opportunity come up and it was initially outside of your means. So can you talk about, so like, when you had an opportunity for coaching, it was outside of your means. And I'm being prompted to ask you about how you made that possible, because not only was it like the price of the, like, or the investment that CTC is, it's that investment monthly. And so you went from like, I have no job and I like have to like meal plan, but you were able to come up with an investment for the price of CTC 12 times over. So can you talk about how you made that happen?
So I knew the coaching was going to be life-changing. Like I knew in my heart, I was like, if I do this at the end, my life is going to be totally different, which is what I wanted. I was like, I know it's going to propel me in a way that I need. But yeah, like finding an extra 500 a month, I was like, that's a thing. And I don't remember exactly how I got turned on to DoorDash, but I did. And I was like, okay, if I can make this money every month, then I can afford this. I can do this. And so I was like, I just like this first month, I have to go out. I think I had like 2 weeks. So I was like, I have to go out and make $300. And the first week I made like 100 something. I think the second week I actually made $300 that week. And I was like, I kind of like this even. I think I could do this to make sure I can pay for this. And it's been totally worth it. It's actually been a good learning experience for me. And sometimes my kids will come along and it's a good learning experience for them. And then the extra money has let us not only buy the coaching, but do other things as well. So it was a huge but how moment. And I had to sit down with my kids because I was like, here's the thing, like, this isn't time that I just have. Like, I don't just have extra time to go door dashing. Like, I have to make this time. And that means that like, we're going to have to be creative and sacrifice a little in ways we didn't before. It's like, but I believe it's going to be worth it. So I had to ask them too, which was new for me because for a year and a half now, I haven't had to ask anyone permission to do anything. And I love it. I love it a whole lot. So like sitting down with my kids, like, can I have your permission for this? It was a little bit humbling. And they were all like, Mom, if you think this is what's going to like propel you to the next level, then you have to do it. We want you to do it. So I was like, oh, I'm okay. I have to do it now.
That's so awesome. I love that. And, and like, I'm going to go back to this. It sounds really weird to say, but there is no better time in history to struggle financially because you can work online, you can do Instacart, you can do DoorDash. And here's the thing. If you think, yeah, but my little town is rural, my little town like doesn't have DoorDash or Instacart, guess what? Big opportunity for you. Post in your local Facebook group and say, hey guys, we don't have Instacart. Anyone want me to go do their door dashing for them? Like do their groceries for them? Like, I've got a service. I'm going to go shop for you. Do you know, like, you now have this like amazing opportunity because a lot of people aren't getting out of their house. A lot of people don't want to be in the stores. And there's some people that are like, okay, I'm willing to make that risk because I do want this opportunity in my life. So I love it. I love that so, so much. And I love that, that you asked for permission. And as someone who works with you, I know that you don't love that. So you love being independent. Okay. So what would you say to someone who's thinking about joining Calm the Chaos? Because you had this moment before, just a couple of months ago with something similar. What would you say? Like if they're, on a very tight budget and they are trying to figure out like how to make this work?
I want to start with like, I don't like taking financial risks. Like that is the one place that I take no risk. It's super, super scary for me. So I went into this like, I need to feel comfortable with this because this is going to be a year. Otherwise, I'm not comfortable. So I had to really sit down and focus and look at it. But I was like, I got to trust my gut. I know this is the right thing. And I know this is the right next step. And I know at the end of this 12 months, I'm going to look back and say, I'm so glad I did this. And every moment I sacrificed to be here was worth it. And so once I was like, I can feel that this is true, I was like, it's worth it. I'm going to make it work and I'm going to take this risk. Mm-hmm. So I guess to anyone who's like looking at it and saying like, I know this is going to be the thing, like trust your gut and make it work, figure out how to make it work. You can even post in the group and ask like, how am I going to come up with this money? Because there's people who will comment and help you. Mm-hmm. I helped at least one person, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like I tried to start a thread the other day and I was like, all right, guys, like I'm going to give you a challenge or I'm going to invite you, go make a list of 50 ways that you can bring in money or, shave money off of your bills. But I did like, if you can bring in money. And I think it's like so important, to be looking at those things. I mean, we're like, one just came to my mind. We're in a coin shortage. How many of you guys have coins laying around your house? The banks want you to bring that in right now and they will count it for free. Like there's lots of ways that you can do things now because of the world that we're living in. And do not believe, like I'm just going to say, do not believe the news that tells you that people aren't thriving right now during this time. I know that it's a hard time. I know that it's a pandemic, but I know so many people that this is their best year ever because they're asking, but how? They're asking, but how? And I think that's so, so incredibly powerful. And I love that Lily's in the comments and she said, Erin has a different energy just from July. So cool to see. So she was at Ignite, so she knows what, she saw you talk, and you light up because you get to go do boxing and you're getting to do something for yourself, and you're doing it for yourself. And I think that that's really, really a key piece here. So I love that so much. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in our panel. So let me go ahead, and that is just bringing in Leslie. So here we go. Leslie, hello. All right, so we've got some questions in the comments about dealing with financial struggles, and I am taking my little notes so that I can give it to anyone who's watching later who's in Calm the Chaos and would like this. So tell me, how do you deal with the anxiety and like the worry and the fear that comes with a financial struggle?
That's a tough one. It is. Well, I mean, I'll start with saying that, yeah, that's definitely, I know when I was in that situation, it was something that consumed a lot of my thoughts. It's really hard to not think about it when that's your everyday and you're pinching every penny and you're not sure where the money's coming from. But I also think too that one of the great things about Calm the Chaos is we really talk like almost right away about some of the mindset shifts, and like even just recognizing what, like, how are those thoughts helping you, right? They're not. And like recognizing that you're doing it and then swapping to something else, like I don't have money yet was a big one for me for a long time. And just the belief that this isn't forever, I think, and that the belief that it can change, like this doesn't have to be your story. I think that reduced a lot of the anxiety for me, and just like I really got a lot of tools, I think, to shift like almost immediately after joining Calm the Chaos, like a lot of tools to shift from that anxiety. I'm not a typically anxious person, but I'm a worrier, you could say. So yeah, and I think just being confident in your decision, like, and being like, going all in, like I'm gonna go for this, I think takes away the anxiety. Like I heard that in Erin, like I've made my decision, and like it's like you're at the edge of the cliff, and once you jump, you've jumped, and that's it. But that worry, at that panic when you're standing there at the top, can like really hold you hostage. But it's taking that action, it just sort of releases it all.
Oh, that's so powerful. Taking that action releases it all, because I think that's true for so many things that we worry about, is that once you like standing there before you do the thing that you're so scared to do is so much scarier than once you actually do it. Because even if you don't like it, you can course correct, but it's that taking, oh my goodness, it's that taking action. I love that so much.
And I think too is that our heads worry about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I know through my experience, I think one of the biggest realizations was we have all this worry about stuff that hasn't happened yet. And it almost never goes like it goes in your head. It just doesn't. So there's not really, that's me, there's not really a lot of point in worrying about it. Let that worry go. Find a tool for you to be able to like cast that worry and that anxiety out into the world, whether that's exercise or meditation, but find a tool that helps you release that. I think that's a big important step.
I love that. Erin, what would you say?
So unlike Leslie, I am a generally anxious person. So, and money anxiety is like a big one for me. And I think I got this from Jason, who always says, like, what you focus on grows. And so I was like, Jason, I'm focusing on the fact that I don't have enough money. What do I do? And he was like, well, you're focusing on not having enough money, so not having enough money is growing. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that does fit. So I had to focus on, like, there is an abundance of money. There is enough money for everyone in this world. And the more I focus on the abundance, like, the more that's come back. And this is, like, so wooey, and I'm just in general not a wooey person, but, like, it works, which is, like, killing me in a good way. Because I'm like, I'm mad that it's working, but I'm also really happy that it's working because it's working really well. And that alone has reduced the anxiety. Like, the more I focus on the abundance of money, the more my mind says everything is okay.
I love that. I think you and I are similar in that aspect, that I get mad that it works because then I wish everybody had it. Like, I wish that everyone could, like, it seems so simple, but, like, what you focus on grows is so incredibly true, but yeah, it's so hard because you want everyone to just soak this up. But it's such a big stretch if you haven't lived it yet, if you haven't seen it yet, if you haven't experienced it yet. It is so hard to trust that is a truth, that is something that you can, that you can live by and that you can follow. Yeah. What would you say to someone who, like, is kind of skeptical of all this woo-iness that we keep talking about? I mean, I think you guys have given a lot of tactical, practical steps, but what would you say to someone who's like, what is going on over there at Live and Love Adventures and Calm the Chaos? I mean, they are just wooing it up over there with, like, the 3 most non-wooey people. So this is pretty funny. So what would you say to them if a skeptic?
See, my thing was, I have nothing to lose by trying it. Like, if I spend part of my day focusing on what I want to grow and then it doesn't work, like, I haven't wasted any time. I haven't done anything negative. And if it does work, like, then I've done a really good thing. So, like, just give it a try. And if it works, amazing. And if it doesn't, like, you're still fine.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I want to welcome, what we focus on grows. I want to welcome Jennifer and Catherine Bentley, who just joined the program. So I love it. All right, Leslie, what about you though? Like, how do you, you're missing woo, Jennifer Beanie. All right.
I'm a woo and I'm not a woo person. Like, I'm a pretty practical, like, hands-on skeptic myself, I would say. I shared my story with my Jason Woo and not looking at my bank account too. and again, like, almost dumbfounded me. So I don't know what advice to believe it. I think Aaron's is it. Like, give it a try, because to me, the proof has been in just giving it a go. Like, I'm someone that's open to trying it. I don't really believe that, but I'll give it a go, because why not? Yeah. Like Aaron, nothing to lose. And it's been powerful.
Oh my goodness. You guys, look who's here. I had no idea that he was standing behind. So Jason, this entire talk has just, like, into Wooville. Lots of practical conversations, but it has definitely gone into also, because your thoughts, like, your beliefs affect your thoughts affect your actions affect your results. That's science. That's not woo at all. That is science through and through. And woo-ness is also science. Like, energy is science, all that stuff. But for those of us that are very practical and we need to see it in front of us, and we're very, like, we've been dealt some hard hands in life, and so we are skeptical at first. Someone's got a sad face. I don't like when people go sad. Okay, so hopefully it was just...
Maybe they were sad about the cat.
No, it's Evelyn Morgan. Evelyn, we don't want you to be sad. Okay, so I think that's one of our students. Evelyn, let us know if that was a mistake. Maybe it was the cat. I don't know. Okay, so but there was some really good thoughts on, like, how to let go of the worry, how to not focus on the consuming thoughts, how to shift those, how to go all in. When you take action, the worry kind of dissipates. And your favorite phrase of motion breeds clarity, right? And your shirt, you need a new shirt to go with that. But can we also there's another question here that I think is really powerful. But Jason, do you have anything on this? How do you deal with the anxiety that comes with financial struggles? Because as woo as you are, I'm gonna tell your story here, and I'm gonna open up the curtain. Like, you can get very focused on the facts and get sucked in to, but are we going to be able to pay the bills? And oh, are we going to have to get rid of that? And oh, are we going to have to get rid of this? So, like, what would you say? Like, when you get sucked into that like place of negativity and that place of worry and being consumed by the finances, what do you do to let go of it?
So you talked for a really long time. The question that I heard was, what do I do to like recommit to the things that work? That's what I heard.
I heard that, Jason, you get upset and anxious about financial struggles just like everybody else. And so what do you do when that happens?
Oh, okay. I didn't hear that at all. Small side note, I am impervious to negative feedback. So you could have said that and I didn't hear it at all. Okay, so rewind, right? As humans, right, we look for evidence of the thing that supports our current beliefs and thoughts, right? It's like do you ever read those articles on separated at birth twins, and then the articles are all about how they like all hold their cups with their pinkies underneath the thing so the cup doesn't go anywhere, and then they both part their hair one way, right? They're like these amazing articles that are like, how could these long lost twins do everything the same? Well, those were the 12 things that these twins did the same. Like, we were just looking for the things that matched, right? We could write the same article and be like, long lost twins, nothing alike, right? And then we could find the 50 things that they're nothing alike, right? So when we're looking at our money story or our bank account, or just, is the world a good place, right? Is the world a bad place? We're going to find the facts that support what we're looking for. Right now, it looks like Dana's looking for a house online. What are you doing over there?
What are you talking about?
What was on your screen? Was that like a house?
No.
Okay, so whatever you're doing, right, you're going to find the evidence, right? So let's put it in terms of, I'm on the fence with Calm the Chaos. I don't know if I want to join, right? If you're like, my husband's going to be mad at me, or I can't tell anyone, like, you're going to find 10 reasons that you cannot join Calm the Chaos, right? There are whatever you want to see, right? Your
Is it
thoughts
me breaking
really
up
matter.
or is it him?
You're both fine for me.
Fine on my end, yeah.
Okay, so your thoughts create your reality, right? So if you're thinking, I'm on the fence, I don't know what to do, right? You can find all the evidence in the world that this is not the right program for you. This is not the right time for you. I don't have enough money, right? If you are like, man, I know I'm in no matter what, you will find all the evidence, all of the signs that this is the program for you, right? So whatever you're looking for, that's what it is. So when I'm in a like, with the numbers, right, and I start to like get a little in the weeds, right, I got to bring it back to where is my attention right now? Is my attention, like, in the context of the business, right? Like, where is my attention? is my attention on serving all these amazing people, helping all these awesome mamas and dads and grandparents? Or am I focused on a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter? Right? Like when we check out, man, we don't take the money with us. It's just stuff. It's not important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's something that I always come back to with it too is, am I living the life that I want? Like, am I happy? And no amount of money is going to make that like make me happy. So I'm able to release the anxiety and the worry about the financial struggles because I think like I just take it back to when I was a single mom, or I take it back to when I was 15 and I was homeless and I'm like, okay, like these are my facts, but what do I do? Right? Well, I could take this as the opportunity to go and live with whoever I want right now. And so I went and like asked how, and I found all these awesome people to live with. You know, some not so awesome, but I did get to explore lots of different places to live. And so, and I got to, you know, get really clear on like what I needed in life to be self-sustaining and to be able to take care of myself. Like it was a great opportunity. It's made me who I am today, 100%, because I had to get super creative. And I think when I became a single mom, same thing. It was like, okay, like I do not want to look back and my kids feel like the split, the divorce was the change in their life that made their life like miserable or not fun or whatever. And I didn't want to have to say, no, we don't have the money. No, we can't do that because. And we didn't have the money. I mean, I had car payment, mortgage, all of the debt from my spouse, and I was a teacher in like one of the most expensive cities in the United States with 2 kiddos. And one of those kids wasn't old enough for school yet. So I had to pay for childcare to even keep my job. And so there were all of these facts and constraints. And it was like, okay, but what can I change? Like, how can I make this the best experience possible? And that when I shift my energy to how can I focus on the things that are amazing, the things that are awesome, the things that I'm learning, the things that I'm growing in, then it takes that anxiety away. So I think that's what my answer.
Where is your attention at?
Yeah, I think that's really good. Okay, one final rapid fire question. This one's really good. This one's like a really good one. If you had to save or make, I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. Make or save $1,000 extra by next month. What would you do first? I'm gonna give you a second to think about it. Make or save $1,000 extra by next month. What would you do first?
I would DoorDash.
Because so what I hear with that is you would go to something you already know works and you double down on it.
Yep, I know I could make $1,000 a month without putting too much more effort forward.
Okay, I love that. Okay. So for me, I don't have an immediate answer. What I would do if, like, let's say I didn't have Calm the Chaos, and I mean, currently, what I would do if I needed that, if our home needed something, then I would probably put together a service or something that you guys needed because I have an audience of people. You guys don't all have an audience of millions of people that you can like lean on. So, but what I would do is I always, when I am thinking of like, if I had to do this, what would I do? If I had to stretch myself, I would make a list of, I just let my creative brain fly. Just boom, 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 boom. And I would just let it go, let it go, let it go until I like pushed the limit on how much creativity I was able to come up with. And then I would go back and I would do something called level of effort. You don't even have to worry about like how technical this is, but I'd look at it and I'd go, how possible is that? How How simple is that? And how much impact is that going to have on my goal? And then, like, I would just kind of order them that way and then say, okay, here's my top 3. I'm going after number 1 and I'm going to go do it. I'm going to see how much I make. And then I'm going to go after number 2. I'm going to go at any time it's and we did this with COVID. Like, we did this with COVID to save the business. We brainstormed together as a team and we said, what is our world need? What do our students need? What does our audience need? We asked them, we brainstormed, we came up with a whole bunch of ideas, and we just started taking them one step at a time. We only got through 3 of them. Like, we only got through 3. We've got a whole parking lot of more ideas. But that's what I would do if I had to start from scratch, if I had to bring in $1,000. Leslie?
Well, I actually have I've made that list, Dana, at points in my life in my pre-job days. So I have a few things on my list that I'll share. I don't know if they're combined or whatever, but my number one, if I need to make $1,000 pretty quick, I used to like make kids clothes patterns in my previous life. And so I would probably start an Etsy shop and try to upload some of those now that we're in the digital age and sell those. And then I have a basement that's like 3/4 the way ready for a tenant. So I would probably go and finish that, which would be like the ever repeated $1,000 a month. That is a project that has dropped by the wayside in the last few months with COVID, but is something I probably want to tackle again soon.
I love that. Jason, what about you?
Well, remember that my money story is very different than everyone else's. So, I would probably spend $1,000 and $1,000 would come in. But here's my real answer. That's my kidding answer. Erin's trying to keep a straight face. She's like, okay. So here's the thing. I know that I'm like pretty wooey and whatever, but like you guys, like every single one of you, Erin, Leslie, Dana, me, Jen Beanie, Evelyn, Kayleen, Khalil's in the comments and the other, like you guys are super powerful creatures, right? You guys are accessing like the tip of your pinky with like the amount of power that you have to create the abundance that you need in your life, right? Because it's out there. You just have to tap into it, right? So for me, if I needed to make X amount of dollars, 100, 1,000, 10,000, whatever, the concept is the same. You are setting an intention, right? You're getting clear on what it is that you want, whether that is like enough money to put a new heater into your house, a new door, fix that leaky faucet, whatever, right? Maybe it's buy a coaching program that you like. When you set that intention, you are setting the wheel into motion, right? Now, the trick is using your will, not willpower, but your will to make that come true, right? From there, I would probably add some like hypnosis, maybe read some, some good money books to get me in the right spirit. But setting your intention, using your will, super powerful.
That's awesome.
Right? I would probably even sprinkle in some dream time work too. Just being honest.
I love it. Awesome. Okay. So yeah, Jason actually came to me and he goes, I'm gonna have to change my dream time work and my hypnosis because we had a number of where we wanted to be monthly for the company. And like, we've now done that since COVID, like every month since COVID. So what are we going to do? So I'm going to have to change that. Love it.
And I'll say, I wish it was in front of me. I would pull it out. Visualization is a really powerful thing, right? Because you can see it in your world and you're starting to attract it into your world. I have a list of, I think it's like 20 or so affirmations, whatever. Every single one of them has come true in the last 2 years. Whether it's a financial goal, a personal goal, a woo-woo goal, whatever it is, everything that is on that sheet of paper, I read it every single day, 2 to 3 times a day, is 100% true in my life.
That's awesome.
What
I
if you
remember
could write down on a sheet of paper 20 things that you want to be true in 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be powerful. And it happens. I mean, look at all of the students that have been sharing stories over the last day, the last week, the last 2 weeks. And it's just incredibly powerful. You know, the people who are saying, I never thought I'd be living the life that I'm living right now. So super powerful, super, super powerful. All right. So that is wrapping us up. Is there anything final that you guys have to say? You want to share? This has been a great session. Like, this is powerful. I'm super, super excited for this training. Yeah. So Loretta, can it be shortened to 10 things in 1 year? Yes, but you far underestimate what you can get. You far overestimate what you can get done in a short amount of time, and you far underestimate what you can get done in a longer period of time. Your brain can't can't actually understand like that amount of time. And so 1 year, you'll probably, I mean, people make year goals all the time and never actually see them through. So it's not just about making the list, right? You have to actually take action into that. You actually have to surround yourself by people who are going to keep you in that action. And so, yeah.
You can do anything you want in any amount of time. Like, it's just how committed are you?
Yeah, I love that. All right, so I just want to remind everyone that we have our bonuses, calmthechaosworkshop.com /livecast. We have opened up that payment plan for those of you that need it. And we are welcoming each and every one of you guys in. We would love to be on this journey with you guys. And just to remind you, you are going to get not only Calm the Chaos 3.0 and all the bonuses that come with that, but you're also going to get the bonuses of, we've done 4 trainings today. So you're going to get the training recordings, plus you're going to get the bundles that go with each one of those. And just as a reminder, those are the Defiant Teen. Get your Defiant Teen to actually listen to you. The How to Understand Your Nonverbal Child. The Partner Connection Bundle. And the financial bundle. The Conquer Your Finances bundle as well. So 4 amazing bundles of bonuses that we've got for you when you join, going to calmthechaosworkshop.com /livecast. Tomorrow is the last day to join Calm the Chaos. We are not going to be opening this back up for over a year, or for at least a year, sorry. So you have to really dig deep, figure out, is this for you? If you're still here after a 2-hour session, after 4 2-hour sessions today, and after a week of trainings, and after a week of pre-trainings, if you're still here and you're not part of Calm the Chaos yet, I want you to dig deep and think, why not? If you're still on the fence, I want you to go over to our program, or go over to calmthechaosworkshop.com /yes. And at the bottom, there is a place where you can ask a question. And I want you to talk to our team. I want you to be unfailingly honest with them about what is holding you back and what struggles you're going through, so that they can help you decide if Calm the Chaos is going to be right for you. Because we would love for you to be sitting in this seat next year, telling your story, saying, I'm living a life that I didn't even know was possible 1 year ago today. I want that story for you. It is possible. Anything that you want in life is possible, but you have to put in the work. You don't have to put in that work alone. We would love to do it with you. So, yes, Ludmilla, no more 90 days for an entire year, because we go all in, friends. And so because we go all in, you can't handle it, and we can't handle the emotions and the time going into that 90 days. So you have to decide, is this where you want to spend the rest of your 2020? We have students who are saying 2020, best year ever. In the middle of a global pandemic, 2020, best year ever. Is that how you're going to end 2020? It is 100% possible. calmthechaosworkshop.com/livecast to get all the bonuses. We would love to have you join us. All right, with that, go forth and conquer your night. Bye, guys.